titled today's devotion, Anointed Bones, and we're on day 208. We're on July the 27th. We're getting close to the end of another month, and how exciting. And we just have a few more days left of 2 Kings. Today's morning rinse is 2 Kings 13 through 16, and the featured verse is 2 Kings 13:21. As they were burying a man, behold, they saw a marauding band. And they cast the man into the grave of Elisha. And when the man touched the bones of Elisha, he revived and stood up on his feet. What? You're probably asking me? Like anointed bones? Well, for the fourth day in a row, death has been the subject. We have seen death at the heels of others as they are trying to be saved. We have also read how that death hovered over a family to try and destroy its legacy. Rightfully so, death is often viewed in a negative way because of how painful it is. And in the correct context, death does have a sting. Often, though, we forget to focus on how someone's death can influence a person's life because they have died. Well, today's featured verse shows a glimpse of the impact Elisha's death had on the life of another dead man. As this deceased man was being buried, a marauding band, and which is a group of people looking to attack, it was spotted on the horizon. I have two thoughts on what could have been this scene on the day of this man's funeral. My first thought is, those burying this man probably panicked a little and had to quickly find a tomb to bury him so that they could defend themselves against this band. And Elisha's tomb may have been the closest one to use, and probably was a very if this first thought was truly indeed what happened, I can't imagine them wondering, should we, throw this dead man or quickly put this dead man into Elisha's tomb? Like how that might have, been a quick decision. I don't know. But another thought of why they were using Elisha's tomb could have been that this man maybe was a part of Elisha's family, and it was part of the plan all along to bury him in this tomb alongside those related to Elisha. Maybe the tomb was already open and ready for the burial, but in this one specific moment, the funeral became this rushed situation with really no time to give proper honor and proper placement. I don't know which one it is. I don't know, I don't know if it's even actually ever disclosed, a little bit more of the depth of that day. But those are two of my thoughts, that what could have been happening at this funeral. But regardless of the reasons for using Elisha's tomb and who this dead man was, his body touched the bones of Elisha and he miraculously came back to life. What a legacy. And if Elisha had not died before this man's death, Elisha's bones would not have been available to bring this man back to life. Elisha made an impact in his living years and even with his anointed bones after his death. So while our bones will most likely never touch another dead person's and have this kind of impact, our life can. What kind of impact is your life legacy going to leave? The question is, are you positioning yourself to carry on a message of hope even after you are gone? Will your quote unquote bones or will your life be anointed for those around you? I talk a lot about, recently even several guests on here, Cameron, Arnett was on here talking about social influence, and Stacy Hirschberger was on here as well talking about her social influence and the impact that she's had. You know, we all have an impact that we can display, and we're anointed to use, whether it be our life, our voice, our struggles, our realness, our rawness, you know, the journey that we have on our faith. We all can be anointed to impact with our life those around us. So today's challenge to dig deeper is to realize Elisha's life was all about following God. His godly choices set him up to be impactful even after his death. So what can you do while you are living to allow your impact to carry on past your life on this earth? Are there changes that you can make with your choices? Or things that you can do to make sure your voice is heard for many years to come? Maybe you are to start a podcast just like I did. Maybe you are to, make yourself open to be heard more. Maybe it's being vocal more on social media, or maybe it's beginning to be a speaker, or maybe it's something else that, thinking out of the box is going to answer what that is. But how can you make your voice heard for many years to come? And what changes do you need to make? Do you need to be brave? I know for me, I was nervous about starting this podcast and had several people encourage me to do it and say, one is, I've mentioned this before, my daughter who does all of the editing and scheduling. Other people were saying, Anita, you have your book, just talk about your book, kind of a thing. I would have never put myself into a situation like that if I had not had voices around me to encourage me. And maybe there's voices that are in your life that are encouraging you to have more of a strong impact with your life and your voice. Maybe too, also, you are a voice to others as well. It gives and takes. And I am wanting you to just challenge yourself to see if, maybe you're afraid of something, or maybe you just need to be braver with a decision or two. What are the changes that you need to make, and how can you make your voice heard for many years to come? Maybe it's writing a book. I don't know. But challenge yourself and ask yourself that question. How can I make my voice heard for many years to come? And maybe God might just drop into you a vision for something that he wants you to do for the future. And as you pull out your journal and you're reflecting and you have that evening reflection, write down what God spoke to you today about your legacy. How are you to leave a legacy? And what are you supposed to be doing to create that legacy? Is there something that you haven't started that God wants you to start? Write it down. I hope that you are encouraged and inspired to be brave, to do something. It doesn't have to take long to start. And it doesn't matter what your age is. You could be young or you could be seasoned. It doesn't matter. Just start. Just start. And I hope today inspired you to do just that, to start. Whether that be writing it down, making a plan, doing whatever, I hope that you're inspired to start. And don't forget, my devotion book is in the show notes. So go ahead and order one for your friends. We can start now. And August is coming up. We can start a whole fresh new month, whole fresh new book. Get your friends on the bandwagon and come and join us. Get back on the bandwagon. August is coming. And until tomorrow, keep rinsing, reflecting, and repeating. God bless you.